Hi my loves, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. My name is Maddie, and basically I just make vlogs of my crazy life. But today's is actually, or tonight's I should say, is actually a devotional. I'm gonna do two. I was actually doing my devotional, this one, that I'm gonna talk about in the video before this, but it might get uploaded after, I don't know. But I found something in my Bible that I really kind of decided, even if it's a short video, I felt like I needed to talk about it because it is January 1st, I think, still. Yes, it is still January 1st. And I felt like people would kind of need to know about this. Not even need to know about this, but would like to hear about this. It was, I want to say it was maybe from a sermon, or maybe something that I read from a Bible, like, devotional, but I don't know where I would have found it. But it's called God and Goals, Making Goals as a Christian. And I thought that was perfect for, like, New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. I know a lot of Christians don't want to make New Year's resolutions because of biblical reasons, which, again, to each their own. Some people I've seen do resolutions that are, like, so over the top that they are unachievable, and they're unachievable by anybody's standards. And then you have some that make little ones, and as they complete that one, they make a bigger one, and then they make a bigger one. But I feel like a lot of us make something that is achievable, but the world distracts us so much that we don't actually get to accomplish that. But the two verses that go along with this are Philippians 3:13 through 14, and 2 Corinthians 12:9. I'm going to read Philippians 3:13 through 14 real quick. I am using an NLT for this, but I have an NIV that goes with my other Bible study, sorry. But anyways, Philippians 3:13 through 14. No, dear brothers and sisters, I have not achieved it, but I focus on this one thing, forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead. I press on to reach the end of the race and receive the heavenly prize which God, through Christ Jesus, is calling us. And then 2 Corinthians 12:9 is, each time he said, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ can work through me. And with a resolution, when making them, I think a lot of times we just get into the hype of, let's make a New Year's resolution, and don't really think about what we put down, or even think about it in the sense of, okay, I have what I want to do, now how am I going to accomplish it? We just write it down and throw it down, and I am guilty of that. I've done that in the past. Which is why I actually stopped making them, like writing them down and making them, because I just got so discouraged with having something that I was never able to accomplish, you know? So I started doing stuff that, instead of a resolution of things I wanted to do, it was things that I needed to do. So like this year's, it just has a couple of things on there, like finishing certain tests that I have started, and like classes and stuff. I want to eat healthier. I want to be more active. I want to start working out. I want to start working with my horses daily. But things like that that I know I can do because I need to do it. Not a, New Year's resolution, I want to get a new job that makes me millions of dollars, But something that, the first question on here was, what if I don't follow through? To me, when you don't follow through, you become very discouraged and disappointed in yourself. And a lot of times we don't want to admit it, but we get into that sense in our brain of, well, I couldn't accomplish this, so I'm a failure. And then once you have that little failure monster eating at you, anytime you want to go do something else or someone asks you to do something with them, you don't want to do it because you're like, I would, but the last time I did something like this, I failed at it, so I'm just not going to do it. And we wouldn't admit that we failed, which to me, that is the first thing that we should change. If we are in the middle of trying to do something, first off, I feel like we should have accountability partners to where when we go to start something, we can have that accountability partner that even if they're not doing it with us, even if y'all have 2 different goals, it could even be a big group. If you're going to do a big group, I would suggest having all the same goal in mind, at least one. But like, take 2 different people. You could have the goal of, I want to work out at the gym every day. And this other one, I'm trying to think, I want to eat healthier. Okay, well, this person might already go to the gym, but they can encourage you going to the gym every day, and you can encourage them to eat healthier. So having that accountability partner behind you to say, did you do this? Have you done this? I know it can get annoying, but at the same time, it's one of those things that if you don't have it, you won't have that nagging, so to say, of, did you do it? Okay, fine, let me go do it. Even if it starts out with I don't want to do it, it becomes a routine to where you enjoy doing it. But number 1, seek His wisdom on God. Seek His wisdom on God-led goals and wise planning. He will give it to you. I feel like we should, as Christians, start the beginning of the year by saying, okay, God, what are the goals that you want me to accomplish? Because if we just write things down, yes, eating healthier, going to the gym, becoming fit, working out more, things like that. Yes, those are great goals. They're great things to achieve, but that might not be what God had in plan for you and that season. He might want you to be the way you are for a certain reason, because you never know. I know as someone who, I'm not the skinniest person. I'm not fat or overweight, but I'm not the skinniest person either. And I get the problem sometimes that when I see skinny people who they're trying to, and they mean it they have a good heart in it and they mean it well, but when they're like, oh, you want to get healthier, okay, you need to work out an hour a day. You need to only eat salads for lunch. You only need to eat like 3 pieces of fruit for breakfast. Okay, that's great and wonderful. However, some of us don't have time for that. But also, if I tried to, right now, do an hour of exercise, I might get 15 minutes in and go, I'm done with this. There's other things I need to be doing. Because, exercising is not my cup of tea. I do not like to work out. And so, for you, you never know. God might have you at a certain point to help someone else along as well as yourself. But praying to Him and asking Him, what goals do you want me to accomplish this year? And let His wisdom and His guidance and the Spirit lead you into what He wants you to accomplish, is a great way to do it, because then once you have the affirming from God saying, this is what I want you to accomplish this year, what better accountability partner than God Himself saying, this is what I need you to do. Do it. This is what I need you to do. But point 2, take steps in faith in the big goals and the seemingly mundane steps in between. So don't just get a goal in mind. Like, say one of your goals is reading the Bible. You want to read the Bible every day and study His Word and do a devotion. Okay, you might start off your first week, because they talk about the hype at the beginning of the year. I don't really know what the term is, but it's where you make a New Year's resolution, everyone's like, yeah, we're going to do it, and then a weekend, everyone's like, what New Year's resolution? I don't know what you're talking about. And the high goes up and then it drops. And it's kind of the same thing with like a spiritual high. You get into a momentum that you're like, the Spirit's really talking to me. I love this. It's like going to a Bible summer camp or like Winter Jam or Passion, and you get that spiritual hype in you, and then as soon as you come home, you might have it for a week or so, and then you fall out of the rhythm and you drop it. And so instead of, like, for me, I want to be able to read the Bible every day and do a devotion, because I do struggle with that. That I will get into a week or two that I am reading the Bible every day and doing my devotions, and then something else comes along, I'm like, okay, I gotta do this, and I forget. So instead of like throwing myself in and saying, you know what, I'm going to read the Bible for an hour today, okay, that is a great thing, to meditate on His Word. But say for me, I have classes that, like I said, I need to finish and get done with, that I personally feel, because they're classes to help me improve in what God has called me to do. I do feel like, yes, He wants me to meditate in His Word, but at the same time, He wants me to take those steps to accomplish the goals, to do what He asked me to do with my life. And so it might be something that hour I need to spend taking my classes. But then your achievable goals of, you know, start with 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night, and then move it to, even if you have to start waking up early, 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes at night, and work yourself up to where you're reading it, you know, an hour in the morning before you actually get started. You wake up an hour early just to do your Bible study, and then again an hour before you go to bed, to work up to those things. Don't skip those small steps in between of, like I said, that mundane, that you really don't think they're important, that they truly are. Because it's hard if you're like in that, okay, I did, for the first 3 weeks, I have done 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night, and then you say you get sick, and one morning you're just like, I don't feel like it, I am sick, I don't really want to study it because I know my heart's not in it, and then you don't study that night, and then the next morning you might be feeling better, but I'm going to skip it one more day. One more day won't hurt. And then the next morning it's, one more day won't, and then you're out of it. And you no longer have that hype. So for me, even if you are sick, do something to continue in those little steps to achieve your goal. Whether it be reading the Bible, doing a Bible study, maybe it's finishing a painting, or picking up a hobby that you love. Take those small steps, even if you don't feel like doing it. Do a little bit to keep that high, and the drive and the want in you to continue doing it. So when you do feel better and feel at your best, you don't skip it when you need to be doing it. Step 3. Trust Him to pour His grace out over you in the many times you'll mess up along the way. Because you will mess up. But if your goals are pointed right at Him, you won't jump ship. You'll turn to Him for strength and wisdom, and knowing how you achieve goals doesn't matter as much as why. So I'm going to break that step down a little bit. So the first part of it, trust him to pour out his grace out. Trust him to pour his grace out over you in the many times you will mess up along the way, because you will mess up. Messing up does not mean you are a failure. We are human. We are going to mess up. The only person in history who has truly never messed up was Jesus, because he was fully human, but he was also fully God. So he could not mess up. But for us as humans, we are going to mess up. We are going to slip up. And take it this way. You could be a wonderful, wonderful person and a kind-hearted person, and just one day you're just not feeling at your best and you slip up and you snap at somebody. Okay, then your entire being nice reputation is ruined, so to say. But don't let that one mess up change your whole outlook of how you do things and how you look at it, and the I'm a failure mentality just because you messed up one day. The messing up should actually encourage you to try again. Because think of it like sports. And the only reason I'm coming to that analogy is we stayed up watching football games today. Which, by the way, Roll Tide. But there was a couple of times that the quarterback that on one of the games we watched would throw the ball and would miss. And then the next one, he would hand the ball to his runner, and he'd run only like a yard before he got tackled. And then it would happen again. And if he had, in those moments, gone, ugh, this didn't work out, I'm a failure, I can't do it, then the whole game would have been shot. But instead, he took those moments of things that didn't work for him, and instead of saying, oh, I'm a failure because I've messed up, he used it to say, okay, this isn't working, let's try something else to still achieve that goal. And in doing so, they won the game, obviously. But if you have that mentality in you that, okay, for every failure I have, let me use that as another stepping stone to get where I want to go. I've seen a sketch before that it's a guy. I'm going to see if I can actually draw it for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. Because I know when I start describing it, half of everybody's going to go, I don't get it. So I have my little note cards here that I keep by my bed that if I have an inspiration, I can draw it. But think of it like this. Okay? Oops, dropped my book. You have a person. Okay? And he's down here, and he wants to get up here to his goal. Okay? And I know it's hard to see. But for every failure he gets, someone says, I'm trying to think. Let's say he's an artist, okay? He paints something. Someone tells him it's bad. Well, instead of it going as a block this way to keep him from seeing his goal, he uses it as a block this way. And then the next failure, he uses it again and again. And as you see, he stacks his failures up to where he uses it to make himself better and stronger to finally reach his goal. I'm sorry, my blocks are bad. Because he could have taken those failures and built them up this way. To where it just got higher and higher to where, oh, I just can't see my goal anymore, so I'm just not going to do it. But instead, use your goals, or use your mess-ups to help you achieve your goal. But if our goals are pointed right at him, if your goal, to me, the reason I have had a problem with getting fit in the past was I was not doing it as a towards God type of thing. I was more doing it as I don't like the way I look, so I'm going to get fit. I'm going to change it for myself. When instead it should have been, my body is a temple that God has blessed me with, and I should treat his gifts with respect, so I should get fit and take care of it. It was I want to do it for my own benefit. And there are goals that might not seem like there's any way to point them back to God. But if you can see and point them to God and use them for His glory, you have a better chance of staying in line with it, because He's going to help guide you. You'll turn to Him for strength and wisdom, and He already knows whether you're going to achieve that goal or not. And you have a choice. He knows what choice you're going to make, but He still gives you that option, that you can either achieve the goal He wants you to, or forget about it and go two completely different ways. He knows which one you're going to choose, but He still gives you that option of, are you going to do it or not? I loved this. Knowing how you achieve goals doesn't matter as much as why. So, it could be something that, why are you trying to get healthier? Well, I want to get healthier to be able to have more energy to do the things that God has asked me to do, which would be to teach lessons and spread His gospel with the students that I come in contact with. And I would also like to, during summers and stuff, work as a counselor at some church camps. But for me, I don't have the energy, and I'm not fit enough to keep up with the kids. That's something that I feel like I wouldn't be able to do at this moment. So, how I go about doing that isn't all that important as much as why am I doing it. Because if you get in your head, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to cut carbs. I'm going to cut sugar. I'm going to cut this, and this. And I'm only going to eat 3 pieces of fruit in the morning, a salad for dinner, and then like 1 piece of chicken for, a salad for lunch and 1 piece of chicken for dinner. Okay, great. 3 days into that, and you're like, oh, that chocolate cake over there looks good. 1 bite won't hurt. So, for me, if you keep the mentality of why you're doing it, and even if that's writing it on a sticky note and putting it somewhere you always look, or I saw this thing that half of me wants to do it, that this girl wrote her goal, which was to get her lifeguard certification so she could work at a summer camp as a lifeguard. But she knew she needed to strengthen herself and get fit as a swimmer for, the case that something happened. So she wrote it on a paper and taped it to the ceiling right above her pillow. So when she opened her eyes in the morning, that was the first thing she saw, was her goal and why she was doing it. And so I feel like if you post that everywhere rather than let me write down a meal plan, write out why you want to achieve a goal. And then take little steps to achieve that goal, to where those little steps put together will ultimately build a staircase up to your goal. I know this was a kind of long video and I got a little sidetracked, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if I can find out where I got this stuff from, I will definitely make another video to talk about it. But other than that, I hope you guys are having a great new year so far. I know we're only 1 day in, but I hope you guys keep that mentality of this is going to be a great year and let's do it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.